and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me is the princess,
Sarah.
and today we're doing a review of Monarch. Sarah, tell us a little bit about this game.
All right, Monarch is a card drafting and set collection game set in a fantastical medieval world where sisters are vying for the throne. So, Will, why did we get this game?
We actually, years ago, watched it being played on tabletop. Plus the theme of its sisters partially working together to vie for being queen just seemed like a very different theme that we wanted to check out.
Yep.
And so we picked it up.
Yes, we did. And so let's talk a little bit about what we like about the game. So one of the things is in some set collection games, you collect a set and it just sits in front of you and it does nothing. But in this game, sets are dynamic until the very end because you continually are trying to get cards that work with it, or you might get a card that works against what you're doing, or you're trying to avoid that from happening.
Yeah, and then you can replace a different cards, which means then all your calculations of what you were collecting change again, so you have a little bit of that dynamic feeling.
And the other thing that's interesting, it has a very small cooperative aspect in that the land, which is where you gain resources from, you're all working to improve it together. The trick is you're trying to time it so that you improve the land when it's going to help you the most and not do it right before someone else is going to go and utilize it. But once you make an improvement on the land, you can't take it away, but someone else could cover it up or make a change there.
Yeah, it was an interesting mechanism because a lot of times when I see a game that says, oh, you improve this, it's, yes, at the cost of somebody else. By, I do this, but I also take it over. The power is mine. I was like, no, this one is, it benefits everybody.
Right, because you're all part of one kingdom. I mean, you're all princesses, so you're all sisters. And so you're not trying to destroy the land so your fellow sister can't use it. You're trying to build it up because you also want to prove that you're going to be the best next monarch. So, yeah, you're going to be improving it.
Although there is a little bit of a cost.
Yes.
Because some of these land improvements have various icons like for culture, for might, for wisdom, that sort of thing. And if you know that, say, wisdom works better for you point-wise and might works better for my other fellow sister princess, I might cover up that might with the wisdom and do it at her cost. Because, wisdom's so much better.
Well, just because you made a change,
yes,
you still improved the land. You just steered it in a different direction. You went and told those peasants, no. You don't need to be producing apples this time. You need to be going and, selling your wares to make money, so those type of things.
Yes. Very backhanded compliment sort of self-improvement.
But some of the other things we like about this game is that it's very quick to play, especially at the 2-player count. It does play a little bit longer with 4, but I think the last game we played as a 2-player was like 20 minutes. So it was a really fast game. And I think it might have been 40 minutes or so with 4 players. Might be a little longer because we were teaching them.
And in a teaching game, that was still pretty fast because it was, a teaching game. And that usually involves questions. It's like, well, what happens with this situation? Well, let me explain. And that's more time away from the game.
Right. But most of what you're doing in the game, because you're collecting sets, it's relatively straightforward. The cards tell you, as like there's a one who wants animals. I can't remember what it's called.
Beastmaster?
Yeah, Beastmaster. So that means you're going to be trying to go for cards that are animals. Or if you get a card that says you get points for culture, well, you're going to want to get more culture cards. So the cards that you collect are going to guide you towards what you're going to collect more of. And it's a finite game, and you're trying to get to 7 cards, right? Yeah, 7 cards.
7 cards, and then that triggers the end. Make sure every even number at the end of that round, count up your points.
Right. So it's relatively fast, relatively straightforward. It's not going to be a very heavy game, so that's another thing that we like. It fits that filler light. I just want to do something kind of fun and engaging without being overly taxed about it.
Yeah. Now, is there anything we don't like about the game?
Yeah, so one of the downsides, and you kind of hinted at it with your land shifting, like many drafting games, hate drafting is still a thing. So I'm trying to get animals. And what does Will do? He goes and takes my animals because it works for something for him, because that animal is a culture card and he's collecting culture. And I'm just trying to get animals. So,
Or I flush the row and don't take it at all and just get that animal out of there.
right. So there is a little bit. It can come out and it can be very frustrating that that card you wanted just got flushed or the card you wanted just got bought. Again, that is just inherent to drafting games.
But you can completely imagine, sisters going, "Oh, sweetie, no, I didn't take that because I didn't want you to have it. It looks better over in my court. It goes with the carpets."
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is there are unwanted guests. And honestly, if this aspect could be taken out, I probably would, but it is baked into the game and it is negative points. And honestly, for everything else that's going on in the game, I'm kind of surprised it's there, because the hate drafting is, I think, bad enough. And especially for a game where it's supposed to be sisters and you're really like not trying to kill each other. So you're just trying to be the better, potential queen. I just felt that the negative points for it was, a little too much. But it can be hard to get rid of those cards because, again, you need to get certain cards at the right time to get rid of those unwanted guests.
Yeah. But they are kind of funny because it's like the uncle that nobody really wants around.
Or that drunk juggler or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was.
It's just something that kind of takes the shine off of your court, and people avoid you because of it. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't count towards the 7 cards you're going for. So
that's a good thing. Yeah. But that could feel a little unfun.
All I can say is that people are giving you unwanted guests in a multiplayer game because it looks like you're so far ahead.
Right. I think that's why I probably don't like them as much, as we mostly played this game 2-player. Mm-hmm. And in 2 players, well, if you see an unwanted guest in the row, you're going to want to buy it to give to the other player so you don't get it. So I think it's just harsher in a 2-player game because there's no other choice of who to give it to.
Yeah. Fortunately, the game does move fast, so you're not going to sit with it for too long.
Right. Then the only other thing is the cards are very dark. And so some of the iconography, some of the text can be a little hard to read. And what's really not fun is the land cards and tiles. The iconography in the middle, the black text on the red apple. Not only is it very small, but it's also kind of hard to read, being black on red. So overall, the dark graphic design can detract from the game because you can find yourself squinting at cards trying to, well, just read them.
Yeah, and I think you personally talked to me about this, that it's for a game that's set in a fantasy world, because there are dragons in here, and dealing with princesses, you were just wondering, like, why did they go with such a dark, realistic art style?
I mean, I don't need, rainbows and kittens and pink and purple. I mean, honestly, I don't want pink and purple and all that stuff. But just something a little bit
more vibrant,
more flashy. I mean, especially if you are trying to be showing off things. I mean, some of the art in this, it's kind of hard to see, but like this is a dragon phoenix gown, and it's really pretty art in there, but it's all dark and it's encased in a dark border, and everything around it is just brings it down. And this art could have been made much more vibrant and alive and inspiring. I guess that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be inspired by the art, by the game. And this feels more like it does give that darker, realistic, gritty warlord type of feel.
Because you know how sister princesses are.
It just seemed a bit at odds with the theme. Again,
It's personal preference.
It's a personal preference because it is different, and that's probably what the designer was going for, is doing something different. And it does succeed on that level. It's just personally, I would have preferred more vibrant art. But then as we know and we've discussed, art is very subjective.
Yes. So that leads us into our ratings. Now for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, reason why, add those two numbers together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Monarch roll for you?
I really, really wanted to give this a higher score than I did, but it just comes down to several things. So first, it rolled a 2 for me. And it's just because it's not memorable to me in either mechanisms or theme. And a lot of it is aesthetics, but it is mechanisms as well. It's set collection drafting, and we've just played so many other more recent games, because I want to say this is from, I know we got it about 2017, and I want to say it was published in 2015 maybe-ish.
Yeah.
And the few times we've played it over the years, I'm never the one to remember this game. I'm never the one to say, yeah, I want to play Monarch. Somebody else is saying, can we play Monarch? And I think with my rating of 2, if someone came up and said, I want to play Monarch, I would probably play it. But I'm never going to be the one asking to play it or suggesting it. And again, I've played more dynamic set collection drafting games that have a theme and an artwork that I like more. The graphic design choices put me off. Again, maybe it's because of some of the accessibility aspects of it, with the iconography being so small on the lands and just having to squint at those. So sometimes it feels like I have to put a little more work into playing the game than I feel like I should. Yeah, I think that's it overall. It's not a bad game. It's just not one I'm going to remember.
And for me, I give it a 3. It's a solid filler game for me. It's a fast-moving one. But what it is the most is a nice gateway game. I can take this game out, teach people, because I need them to work their way up to get to the more advanced, more nuanced games that have just this ingenious thing. But if they have no basis in board gaming, they're going to be completely lost. This gives people that basis, so it definitely has a place in the collection. And when Sarah says if someone asks to play it, well, I'm the one that still asks to play this game.
It's true.
However, I will point out that, yeah, Sarah is right. It's kind of hard to remember. It takes me a very long time to remember Monarch is the name of the game. And
you usually just say that princess game.
Right. And that's slightly problematic when it comes to board games, to make sure it stays on your shelf. But this does stay on the shelf because it does have a solid purpose for our collection. It doesn't shine and glitter with the best and brightest. It's a gateway workhorse filler game, and I like it for that. It can't really get a higher review than a 3 from me. So, yeah. So between the two of us, it rolled a 5 out of 12. Not great.
Yeah.
But it has its place. Mm-hmm. And if you already have a game that has that, it fills those niches, then yeah, you could probably skip it, move on to something else.
Right. And I think part of it is because it is an older game, so it does kind of, show its age. But, I think one thing is I would love to see is if a new edition of this is ever made. There's obviously some changes that could be done to, spiff it up. And I think that would change my rating. Again, if this was just, I'm not saying rainbows and glitter, but just a bit brighter, better graphic design to make it more accessible. I think...
And maybe a crown in the box.
Oh, yeah. A crown for the first player marker. Yeah, that'd be cool, too. But like Will said, it's still a decent game that has a place in our collection, at least for now.
Yeah. So that will do it for us from here with Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you could go to any of the social media sites at...
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and please check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
And we've been Rolling with Reviews.